agenda. So, Mustafa and Mukhtar, you'd started to make some progress on the call for the papers from the previous conferences. So can you just clarify that?
Yeah. Do you want me to talk, Mukhtar, or you?
Yes, Mukhtar.
Okay. Yeah, I share with you that I received some feedback, some important feedback from Devin, which I put on the new documents that I will share with you. I just have few following Devin's suggestion, like we had two different papers, one short paper, one long paper. I was thinking, why don't we just limit it to one paper from ranging between 4,000 words and 6,000 words. If you agree, we can do that, instead of confusing, as Devin mentioned, having short and long paper.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to mention is, and probably we should use it as well for whatever, for our for the conference, is the language. Do we adopt one language, British English or American English, and that's what we use?
What do you think the majority of readers or contributors even use?
Well, English, American English is much more international now. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Devin.
I do not suggest English only at all.
No, I'm just joking. But indeed, American English is much more common and much more used. Yeah. So maybe
I think we're all bilingual English speakers at this stage.
Oh, okay.
We can even understand American.
Well, mind you, it depends on your definition of bilingualism. Some people would say, yeah, you are bilingual, yeah.
We can all code switch, is that right?
Sorry, David?
We can all code switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, code switch, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Devin.
Are the abstracts going to be in more than one language, though?
The abstracts, they have to be in English as well. If that's what I put on the call, and I share with you. If they are other than French or Arabic, they have to be translated into English.
Okay. Lovely. That's good. So we haven't sent the actual call yet. When are you actually going to send it?
I just want your approval, if you are happy with that. There is just one more issue that I would like to and it's related to the journal that Devin has raised. What I did is I mentioned that some papers might be invited for publication beyond the university book. I didn't want to commit to the journal, saying the journal, because I didn't know whether the journal would be ready by then or not. So it's up to you. Do you want me? That's the question to all of you, and especially Devin and Sean. Do you want me to write some papers might be invited to be published in the journal, or just say beyond the book and just in case?
Yeah. I think because Mike actually did a little presentation about the journal in the conferences, both conferences, I think, and they do know about the journal, that they might be expecting to hear something about the journal. Whether this is the right place or not, I don't know. If we say beyond the book, that's beyond the book. Could say, but we will of course contact you separately about this. So if we are going to invite them to the journal, whether it's the journal, or you could say the journal or other, or alternative publications, and leave it sort of open-ended, as long as they know that they're going to be told that we're not just going to lift it and publish it without them knowing. Okay.
And should I mention the name of the journal for education quality, or the journal on education quality? Yeah. I'm sure I will be receiving some queries we will be receiving queries from authors about the journal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's right. Put it in, I think. If you leave it out, they'll be saying, oh, what about the journal? What about the journal? So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe you
What
do
we
need to
meant
mention.
is, if we put the journal, they would want to know about the journal. They would want to know more information about the journal.
Well,
So-
we have some documentation that we could review this summer. If you, I would assume that, Sean, that this would be something that we would discuss as a journal prelude this summer, to be able
Yeah.
to talk about production of it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that was always the understanding, was that there would be 2 publications
Yeah.
per annum. One would be based on quality papers that are submitted for the conference, and one would be on a special issue.
Yeah.
So I think we go ahead on that basis.
I agree.
If I may just add to what Sean said, just to make sure, I thought one, as Sean said, one based on the conference papers, is going to be in the 3 languages. Is that correct? We have English, French, and Arabic. And the other is going to be a regular issue rather than special issue. That was my understanding. Please correct me if I was wrong. And it's going to be just in English.
That will be on it. It will be, well, they'll both be regular, won't they? But the core journal will be the one that Sean mentioned, based on the conference papers only, and only people that attend and register and pay to attend the conference will be invited or will be able to submit papers for that journal. But the special issue, it might be a different editor. So for example, I say, oh, I'll do a special issue on early childhood. And then I might invite people in my sector, and we would all invite people in to do with early childhood, or wouldn't be that broad, but let's just say early childhood and inclusion. And then we would invite authors who may not have been to the conference. And then the next year it could be about something completely different. So it might be about something that Sean's interested in the about teaching and learning or whatever. So that interim journal is more fluid, if you like, in its nature. It might have guest editors, for example. We might ask somebody completely I nearly said random then, but not random, somebody completely different, say, will you edit this one edition as a one-off, or be an editor?
All right. So, okay.
I agree.
So
I agree
guess
with that. But the only thing that I'm puzzled by is, why would we want it to only be in English?
I guess because we don't have the expertise in French and Arabic. So unless we appoint editors who have expertise in those areas, then we can extend it. But currently we don't have that expertise.
No, that's true. But what I'm suggesting is that even though there's a special editor such as Caroline for early childhood, I would assume that there would be a scientific committee being able to review manuscripts in other languages. I wouldn't want to be preemptive of scholarship that comes from other languages, other language groups.
Yeah, I don't know, because I haven't been involved in the journal, but I had my original understanding, which is about 3 years ago, was that the journal would be in English, and that the abstracts for each of the papers be in the 3 languages, and that the papers themselves in both editions, consistency across both editions.
Okay. I don't remember us discussing this when Sean and Mustafa and I met a couple of times, but maybe it was already established.
Yeah.
But that wasn't just for that issue, it was for both issues.
That's why I thought, Caroline and Sean, that's why I thought the issue based on the conference papers is the special issue, because it's going to be in 3 languages.
Okay.
Yeah, and the regular issue, because again, each of us has a different understanding. And the regular issue, I thought it's going to be in English, because if it's the regular issue, it's going to be just a special issue. Sometimes we might not have a special editor. If we don't have a special editor, does it mean we won't have that issue?
Yeah.
So
I see.
So my understanding was that, but I don't know, I might be wrong. My understanding was that the special issue was going to be based on 3 languages, and that's why we were going to call it special issue, because normally it should be, well, the language, yeah. Go on.
In all journals, if they have a special issue, they could be published 20 times a year even, but they still have a special issue, and it's about the theme. It may not be a different editor. It may even be the same book editor, but it's about the theme being special.
All right. Okay.
So the regular one will be the conference-based one.
Okay. Sure.
And I mean, I'm easy as to whether that's in 3 languages or whether, in a way, I think it should be, because the conference itself is in 3 languages. But still have the abstracts in the 3 languages, if that makes sense, like we did for the 4 books.
You know, the reality is that in terms of academia, that, as you know, and David Crystal writes about this, Mustafa, and Mukhtar, I'm sure you're probably familiar with this as well, in terms of language power, that English is the language of academia at the moment. You know, it is the world language. And it's causing problems for countries like France, for example. And I mean, we saw that in the terms of the workshop that we ran. And countries such as Brazil, that, you know, even though they have 550 million speakers of Portuguese, nobody else reads their journal articles, because they want to publish. They want to publish in English. That's the reality.
Yeah.
So academics don't really want to publish in English, and it's seen as a prestige step in order to be able to do that. So I think we go with the multilingual one for the conference, absolutely, because the conference is multilingual, and we respect that and reflect that. But then for the special issue, I think we go for, as we said, journal or the articles themselves being in English, but the abstracts being available in the 3 languages. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I think that the journal must keep the English language as a language official, because first of all, the University Ibn Zor has some reviews, some journals in Arabic and French, but I don't think that there is an English review. I don't think. For instance, we have a review that calls Refsicom. It's in French, and we ask, of course, the authors to make an English abstract, but the texts are in French. So to keep the choice, the English as official language for the review, it's also strategically speaking very interesting for Ibn Zor, and also for the study that we can present in ICEQ.
What do you think, Devin?
I mean, I understand the reason for doing an English only regular issue. I guess, given what Sean said, you know, it makes sense that it remain as such. I feel torn about it, but I'm going to go with the group about this. I also, though, think that the conference being in the 3 languages is what makes it so special. And I would like to make sure that that is kept intact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. Okay, so shall we then? We'll send the call. Me and Mukhtar will send off the call for papers, for full papers, and the deadline it was I think the 5th of July. I put the 15th of June as Mukhtar suggested, but Devin suggested that it's better we do early July to give participants more time. So we'll do that. We'll go with beginning of July. I think it was the 5th or 7th of July. Is that okay for the date?
It is for me.
Is that so? The July date is for which?
submission deadline.
Okay. July. Okay. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So we're looking at 8 months in advance.
We are now in March. We are now in April. Well, they have May, June. They have just 2 months to submit.
Huh. Okay. All right. I'm just wondering about the time frame, and I think maybe there's a couple of different things. I think perhaps before we get to the issuing, the first one is that I would suggest, anyways, that we probably need to have our keynotes identified so that they're also a draw for the individuals. So the call goes out with the information about the keynote speakers. I think that would be helpful. And okay, it's going to hold you back a little bit of time, but I don't think it's going to be too much time, because I think and I'm sure that might be an agenda item today. Is it,
Yeah.
Caroline? Okay.
Yeah, because what we were just talking about then was the call for the papers from the previous conferences. We're not talking about ICEQ 22 just now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And again, kind of having that stepped kind of phase, I think if we have a sense as to what happens when, and we also share that information with the recipients during the call. So I've seen this more commonly in conferences of late, where there's real clarity around the time frame. So they will say, for example, okay, the call is issued, let's say at the end of May or something like that, and or even mid-May. And then it gives real clarity in relation to the deadline for submissions, the review time frame, when they will be advised, so that people have a good sense as to, well, okay, if they're not successful in their submission, they can put it somewhere else and that kind of thing. But I think that would be helpful also for ourselves, just to have that kind of project plan in place. And to be able to share that, because otherwise it's a movable feast, and things kind of start to change and pull and drag.
Yeah.
Moving on, that's the call for abstracts for ICEQ 22. Would have definitely on it the dates, the submission date, and so on. And then on the website will be the information like that program that you talked about. So important dates. The scientific committee would have a list of important dates, including the deadline, the review, and then we'll say there's 4 weeks turnaround, say, for each abstract. Then they'll hear about it for the peer review and so on and so forth. So that will go on the website.
Yeah, thank you. The point raised by Sean, it was raised as well by Devin. And I did add some dates to, I forgot to mention, I did add some dates following Devin's, the comment that you made on. So if we agree on the dates, we can put them to the call. I said that the review will be completed. If we receive by beginning of July, the review will be complete. I didn't specify the date, but I specified the month, by September. Do you think that's reasonable? By the end of September?
Yeah, I think we're talking about two different things, aren't we? So I think if we're talking about the ICEQ 22 call, then we need to be very specific about the dates, and that will go on the website.
Yeah.
Your call you're talking about now, which is the call for the previous papers, I think it's fine to be a bit more flexible.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think September would be feasible? What do you think, Devin and Sean? Go on, Devin.
No, I because of August being difficult for people to gather, to do work, to confer, I thought that the end of September, or maybe even the beginning of October, would be reasonable. I don't want it to stretch too long into the fall, because I do think, to Sean's point, it's an advertisement of sorts for the conference for next spring. So it would be good to try to have that happen early in the fall. End of September seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Okay, beginning of October and September. When do we say that publication will be because once we review, there will be some modification that we'll ask authors to do. Then we'll give them like a couple of weeks or something. Yeah. So everything will be ready by the end of October or even November.
Yes.
People tend to like, if towards the end of the year, people tend their publication to be rather the next year. Instead of 2021, they'd rather have it published 2022. 2022. What do you think? Shall we say that publication will be beginning of January?
Yeah, because as long as it's before the conference, well before the conference.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
I do too. And this is going to be online only.
Yeah.
Well, what Mukhtar suggested is it's going to be both online and paper based, both. So even the last one we published as well in terms of paper. There is hard copies. We have hard copies.
But it was hard to get those hard copies produced. So having a January date seems more realistic to me. That, yeah.
January.
So we say January date of publication.
I think there's the orientation is towards digital in the field of publications, and I think it would be just adding additional, probably unnecessary hurdles in terms of trying to get a paperback. I know it's a little bit more prestigious, but the reality is that even some very good quality journals are just making themselves available digitally at the moment. So that would be, I would suggest that we just go digital.
Okay, what do you think, Caroline and Devin? And Mukhtar, of course.
It was such a struggle to get those books published. I just remember it dragging on forever because of the design and the production of it. I like the idea of having paper, but I'm not sure, in your judgment, everyone, has the book as a print copy been significant in its impact?
No.
So maybe Sean's right. Maybe the readership, it would be more accessible electronically, and certainly would be more nimble to get it done that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you okay with that, Mukhtar?
Yes, I think even we can, for instance, put the online book on the website, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as all the participants to the conference 2022 can also get the book online. And of course, if just for the archive, or we can have a paper format also.
Yeah. And the last point, sorry, Caroline, that Sean raised, and it's very important. I agree with Sean. If it's possible, if we can write to the keynote, the former keynotes, see who's gonna. If we put that on the call, it will as well attract quality papers. And will that be possible?
I thought. Wasn't I going to send out a separate? You were going to send me a list of the former keynotes.
Yeah, that's no problem.
And then I was going to send it on that official headed paper. You know, the one with the 3 logos.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And if we can have from them just a yes in principle, that would be good. If we can just get that. And I was wondering, maybe we should even write to the keynotes of the first conference, if you want.
I said that as well.
Yeah. So we have 12 keynotes.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'll do that.
If we have 12 keynotes and 50% of them return with papers, that would be a good result.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would.
Devin,
okay.
Sorry.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
I agree.
So then I will send you, Caroline, today the names and the email addresses of the keynotes, all of them, and I hold on sending that call just for a week till I hear from you, so we can say that we can add that to the call that we'll send out to everybody. Is that that's what? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what we said. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So on that note, we can move quickly then onto the keynotes and correspondence protocol. Really, this is setting it up really for next year, but we're trying this year to write down as much as possible and to put as many systems, if you like, into place. As Sean mentioned, it's very important that people are clear about sequencing and so on. So using the shared drive, with Ashia setting that up has been brilliant. So in terms of the keynotes, we're all at different stages with the different keynotes. So I've created a sort of sequence of what we always have traditionally done and what standard, it's the standard stuff really. Write and invite them informally, then formally, then ask them for a mini biography and ask them for this and ask them for that and ask them for the other. And then enable them to meet with each other, write and thank them, introduce them, write and thank them after the conference, make sure their flights are booked and all of that. So I've just done basically a list so that people can use it as a checklist. People that are corresponding with keynotes can use it as a checklist to make sure they don't leave anything out, or we don't have. It's easy for us to update them. So if we have that checklist in the shared drive, then each keynote we can be ticking off. Like Mustafa can say, "Oh, I've contacted him." Devin might say, "I've contacted him, and now I'm going to send him the formal invite." Sean might say, "He's agreed," or whatever, so that we can keep an eye on where we are with each keynote instead of having to keep constantly emailing. So that we've set up. We have got a folder on there already about keynotes with information, so we can say we've got the photograph, we've got this, we've got that. So that's all that item was about. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to jump in, and it's probably batting this towards Mustafa. I think he's probably expecting the ball to be batted his direction anyway, to use a cricketing expression. So Mel Ainsko, he's on board. We've been in touch with him informally, and I think at this stage it'd be really good to get him formally locked into this. So it'd be great for Professor Bendu to sign off, I think, on that invitation if possible, and I think also just tying down the date for his appearance, I think would be really welcome, because he's a pretty significant international player. He may be able to stay over, I'm not sure. So it would be great just to have a sense as to kind of what the expectations are. Secondly, I've just been reviewing the submissions, and thanks Aisha for submitting your colleague from UNISA. I think she'll be a real asset. Thanks to Devin for these two suggestions. I wondered about this lady here, Mustafa and Mokhtar. You probably are a lot more familiar with her, but her name is Najat Valo Belkheim. And I suspect that I'll just put a link in there from that shared drive. Now, she's a politician, so maybe that raises particular issues. I'm not sure, but obviously I wanted to kind of share the link with you initially. Algerian, Moroccan, French, former Minister for Culture in France, has a very strong profile in relation to refugees and asylum seekers, and is very, very strong in relation to the interfaces between policy, refugees and education. There's a really quite a striking profile. I just had a look at her because I knew there was going to be some Moroccan women. I just knew there was going to be some really powerful Moroccan women. But then again, it's straying into the field of politics, and I don't want to be kind of upsetting anybody in that regard as well. I'm not sure how she might be perceived or whatnot. So I just thought over to yourselves in relation to that suggestion. I think it'd be great to have somebody from the Maghreb region, and particularly because of the focus on inclusion and inclusive policy. Again, I thought perhaps a woman would be not only because of her gender, but also because of her significant record. So over to you, guys.
I can confirm. I think I did confirm in an email to you, Sean, that we're going to put Mel down as the opening keynote. So it'll be on the Thursday. I can't remember the date. I can't remember the date exactly without looking. Is it the 11th?
The 10th, I think.
Yeah. And then the others we'll just slot them in, because it depends, who says yes. We'll have like main keynotes, which is the two we've already more or less got. One from Maghreb, which we know we want to get, and then at least one of Devin's. If we end up with a lot of delegates, we said further down the line, we might have some additional speakers, specialist speakers, like I think we called them featured speakers before, but they could still be keynotes, but you might have 200 people in one and 200 people in the other, because we don't know how many people are going to register yet. So we'll have some like standby keynotes, if you like, but we'll have our initial keynotes that can go on the website fairly soon to start, as soon as we start marketing. But there's nothing to stop us adding one or two more keynotes at a later date, as long as we've got a couple now to get that going on the website. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a look at the shared folder. I mean, this document, when it was updated, but it reminded me first about Devin. He said he didn't have access to the folder. I checked, Devin. I think you have access. I don't know if there is some technical problem.
No, I do now. I didn't before, but I have access now. Yes.
Yeah. May I ask who suggested is she, by the way, is she Moroccan or Algerian? I thought she was Moroccan.
She's Moroccan. Yes.
She's Moroccan.
She's Moroccan, yes. And who suggested that? I did. I just did a Google search.
And idea because we never had a keynote that speaks French or Arabic, so that's a good idea. Plus, she's a lady as well. We did the opening, yeah? The opening.
We had
conference day.
Rashid Bousama.
Yeah, and the other, yeah.
And the other one, yeah.
But the other one did it in English, I think.
And there was one in the opening as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
All right. Yeah.
It'll be good.
I think it's a good idea. And will we have? Do you have access to her, Sean?
Oh no, but I'm sure we could kind of reach out somehow. And she seems to be involved in that refugee agency. So I thought it might probably be easy enough to get in touch with her via the refugee agency. And I might. My French is pretty rusty, so I might leave that in perhaps in better capable linguistic hands than better tongues than my own.
Sean, I was going to ask you, I think we did mention it maybe a long time ago, or I dreamt it, to be like the coordinator of the keynotes.
Yeah, I can do that. No, it wasn't a dream. It's fine. That's why I kind of, to some extent, I was sharing the screen
I think you did it before. I think you did it. I'm not sure, but I had it in my head that would be sort of a role of yours on the steering group.
Yeah.
Just not just your own keynote, but just to overall coordinate that sheet and keep going with the keynotes and make sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
I'm happy enough to do that, absolutely. And the other point is that I know we're kind of falling over speakers at this stage, but both Mukhtar and Mustafa are aware that the Minister for Higher Education spoke at the Student Voice Conference, and he delivered really quite an impressive keynote. He really did.
I've already asked Mustafa to
Well, I suspected as much. I thought I could hear, a little bit of an informed voice there, all right. But but it was very eloquently delivered, and it was convincingly delivered, I have to say as well. So, I felt that he was good. So I don't know whether we might, in terms of kind of the official opening, the way we generally have somebody from government circles or whatever else. I think he would make a really a good asset, because he was convincing for sure.
I said that. I emailed Mustafa after the Student Voice conference and said, let's get him for the reception evening.
Yes.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, sure. You can ask him to do the opening. That's no problem.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think that if we have at once Najat Belkacem and Owisha, his name is Owisha, the Moroccan ministry, it will be a great profiles for Maghreb, I think.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
That's
I believe that she is Moroccan and French at once, and mainly she did a great job on education, because before she was education minister.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Who is that, Mokhtar?
Belkacem, Najat Belkacem.
Oh,
The one that you suggested. She was Minister of Education,
Yes.
sure.
Oh, okay. I hadn't realized. Okay.
It's a very interesting profile.
Yeah.
I think
she
that
has
would be.
I think a job of another job in the government apart from Minister of Education.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I want to move quickly on now to not the website design. So we'll do that in a minute. But about the actually, I don't know why I've got Abdurrahim's name in there. I meant to write Aisha in there. Sorry. But Abdurrahim had done a sheet, I think, that Aisha can share with us as to where we are in terms of what content we need to get the website up and running, because we said that the call for abstracts will be opening from the 1st of June. So on the 1st of June, they'll get a link, and it needs to take them to something, and that website and needs to have some basic information, and we've started to gather it. So Aisha, are you there? Can you update us on where we are? Thanks.
I am here. Okay, there's quite a few things that we need for the website, quite a bit of information. Let me just get it quickly, because Abdurrahim has shared it with us. Just one moment. And we need this information because Mukhtar needs to update the website. Remember, our website needs to be functional, and for that we need information. So we need some assistance from everyone to kindly help us with all the information that's really needed. Oh, why is it not picking up? Let me see. Where am I? Sorry, people. You know what? I have so many emails and it's not picking up my search now. It doesn't want to pick up my search. It usually does this when I'm quite busy. But anyway.
While Aisha's looking for this, can I just ask all of you from that shared folder to prioritize which of the 2 American keynotes you would see as being better for the conference? It would be helpful to me in terms of following up with both of them. Just to remind you, one is the Dean of the Honors College at Rutgers, who's looking at inclusion as a model for gifted and talented students in higher ed. He's wonderful. And the other is the Provost at Teachers College, Columbia, who has a background in mentoring of students. And she's a developmental psychologist. Both of them are faculty of color, and both of them are great human beings. So
I like the idea of the gifted and talented.
You say that again?
I like the idea of the gifted and talented, because it's underspoken. It's not the phrase, it's not the terminology, but in terms of looking at a different.
He's looking at he's looking at having staff on interviewing teams for students. I mean, it's a much more community-based approach to this, much more open, much more inclusive. Okay, if any of you do, I'm sorry, Aisha, I wanted to make...
Thank you for actually holding forth while I was trying to get this email.
Okay.
Okay, instead of having awkward silence, it is better that you fill the silence with something, something good.
That's me.
And meaningful. Okay. For the website, there's a few things we need from all of you. Firstly, Abdurrahim and I were working on the call for abstracts yesterday and trying to finalize it. And thanks, Mustafa, for that information you said sent on the call for abstracts. So we'll integrate that with our call. There was one question that we had for the call for abstracts. They said in previous years, they had a slight contextualization of the theme and things before the call. So what we thought, they had like quite a long contextualization in previous calls, but this time what we thought, because we're having the website, we can have like a long contextualization on the website and like a small paragraph, just contextualizing the theme and of the conference, which will be really great before putting out the call. So if someone can help us with that, that will be fantastic. And now we have very, very clear deadlines for everyone, because we want to have this website up and running by the 1st of July. So that means that we need to have all this information up on the website by the 20th of May, so we can test and see if all the links are working and what's going on. So it gives us that few days to actually work on issues on the website, because we want to actually have all the abstracts submitted onto the website. So Mukhtar is working on that. So Mukhtar has been so kind to sit with Abdurrahim and say that, you know what, he will finish all of this within a week or 10 days, but some of the information is missing. So we have a website folder in the organizing committee subfolder on the drive. And in that website folder, I've added this document as well. And I can share the link with everyone if you want me to. And within that website folder, we've created little subfolders for all the information that we need. So firstly, we need to complete the call for abstracts. So we are close to that. Mustafa sent us some stuff, so we need to discuss that. And I think some of the information that we wanted has already been discussed, like the call for submissions. We said at the end of September, and I think you all agreed that was fine. And the review process towards the end of October or maybe mid-November. I would say we put out the first timeline for end of October. And usually what happens with most conferences, if you haven't finished the review process, usually inform should I say applicants or prospective candidates? I'm not sure what word to use. Anyway, so we can inform people that we need 2 more weeks to complete the review process, and we'll let you know. So that's fine. If there's any other questions, we'll ask about that. And then the strand descriptors, Caroline has been so kind to actually start populating that. And the document that we have, apparently there's a few strand descriptors that are missing, but Sean said that Caroline has all of them. Caroline, do you have all of them, or should I, pressurize Devin and Sean to finish that for me?
I actually finished mine too. I finished mine and Caroline has them.
I've got Devin's. Have I got yours, Sean?
Yes.
Have you put them onto did you put them on the shared drive?
Yeah, I put them on the shared drive.
They're finishing his the same time I was.
Yeah, and I think I might have been editing other people's actually, because I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, that's fine. It was only draft. It was only draft anyway, so I haven't looked at it since. So once I can go back now and look at that, and then just finalize it, make sure the language is consistent.
Because the document that we have access to, it doesn't have Sean and Devin's contributions. So
it might be because it's in the wrong place, because the problem was on the folders. I noticed that there were 2 folders called website. So the one that I've got which is, I think, has got everything in it, is maybe not in the place where you're looking.
So I need to actually merge those folders. Remind me to do that.
I'll find what we need, and I'll make sure it's in the final place where it should be, because the draft was in one place, which is fine. I didn't want to put the draft into the folder that you're working with. I didn't want to put it in there until it's final, because I don't want Mukta to have several versions. So I put it in a different place. So you haven't actually seen it yet. And when it's finalised, I'll move it in ready for Mukhtar to put onto the call, or for you
Okay.
to put onto the call.
Okay, so that will be perfect. Then that's done. And then we need information about the registration fees, and the
Oh,
student
yeah,
group needs to finalize that. So, because although we have previous calls, but there might be some differences, some changes, we need that information. We need all this information by the 5th of May. So if that information can be shared and we can put it up into the drive, and it will make Mukhtar's work quite easy, because he has the information at his fingertips to actually upload onto the website. Okay, the accommodation Caroline has shared with us and Mustafa has shared with us. Thank you. And then we need the confirmation of the keynotes. Okay, I've like we said, I've got the one keynote that's confirmed, and the one is almost confirmed, like Sean said. If we can finalize those, then we can put that up onto the website, and we can actually, I think we need a small bio of these keynotes, right? So I can get the bio for Prof. Sindile. I can ask her for that, and we can put that up on the website, because we don't have that information yet. And Sean can get that for Prof. Mel, if I'm not mistaken. If that can be done, we can finalize that as well. So that's the 5th of May as well. So I think that's we should leave that to Sean. And then
can you do me a favor in relation to that? And maybe it's not yourself, but if we can get an exemplar from last year, even
yes,
can be any of the speakers from last year, just an exemplar, so that I can disseminate that to the 2 people involved and get them to submit. I don't mind contacting them at this stage. I mean, Mel Ainscough knows, and I'm sure your contacted Eunisa also is aware, and she knows. Devin, I'm not sure about, again, where we are in relation to those invitees. And what
I had an initial contact with both, and both expressed interest and wanted more information. That's where it is.
Okay. So,
I can send some of that information that Caroline shared with me, and I shared with Prof. Sindile. We also sent her a formal invitation. So is that what you're looking for, the formal invitation letter, the exemplar of that?
No, because we've changed it.
It's a decision rather than a formal, at this stage, I think it's a decision, isn't it, as to kind of how many and who, so is going to be in place. So we have a growing number, and it's just, like, again, how many and who. So I think we originally had said that kind of 2 for each of the days.
Yeah.
So that would be 4. So if we factor in the South African, we have Mel, so that's 2 already. If Devin, would one of your speakers be from the US? Would that? Do you think that would cut it? And it's going to be really difficult, but then it's kind of, well, which one do you choose?
That's why I was asking. I didn't think we could use both
for
the conference, but it would be helpful to have some guidance. And Caroline just gave hers. If you all could think about which you think would be better given the mix of keynotes, I'd be happy to do that.
Great. Okay. I think that's.
I would go with Caroline as well. So we decide now the gifted I think that's a different perspective that we didn't cover that much. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
And if that one's not available, then you could try the other one.
Yeah.
Just so that you're aware, that whole area around gifted and talented is very, very contentious in inclusive practice circles. Very.
Yeah.
But that's good, isn't it? That we want debate, don't we?
Well, yes, we do. Yeah, but there's you may have kind of some people standing up and not being too pleased about it, but there we go.
So Caroline, you'll share this information with everyone, right?
Yeah, I'll put it in the keynote folder.
Okay, fantastic. So
right.
The deliberations that everyone has can be eased for now about the keynotes. All right.
Good.
It was just that the one thing that Mustafa and I discussed separately as the conference co-chairs was about the one everybody contacting their own keynotes and doing all the checklist. apart from the one, in terms of Moroccan protocol, really, the one letter, which is the formal invitation, signed by Professor Bendu, goes on a different style of paper and goes as an attachment rather than just in an email from like one of us. So I'll move the text onto that template, and then it's already signed, so I'll send it to Sean, and Sean can send it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share this document with everyone. So if everyone can help us with the information that we need, and then we need information on the student pre-conference, but I think Caroline and Mahsin will take care of that, right?
We said that we were going to leave that till afterwards. Let's get the main conference information up first, because we don't need to organise or market or do call for papers or anything for the student conference. That can be organised even in September. You know what I mean? 6 months ahead will be plenty of time.
What we were thinking of was creating the information onto the website.
Yeah, I'll do it.
We just put a bit of background saying there will be a student pre-conference, this, that. But the other information can be updated later. So as long as we have that page onto the website, because we're talking about logistics of the website and getting everything together before the call goes out, because we want the website as complete as possible, because it creates an impression about the conference itself.
Yeah.
So that's what we were thinking of. So that will be there, and then links to social media sites. And that I'm working with Prof. Yusuf Tamer, and he's been very good to me. It's just that I need to get his group together from the. I've just been a little bit busy. It's been crazy on our side. But anyway, I'll try and get that done before this weekend. And I'll be working with him to get all our social media intact, so we can get the YouTube up and running and the LinkedIn and the Facebook pages up and running, so we can market that on those sites as well. What we also need is booking for conference, dinner, and details for educational tours and that. So that also needs to be finalized. So it's Caroline and the rest of the steering group. If you guys can get that for me, that will be fantastic. And we have a very serious deadline for you, which is the 5th of May. So
I think that thing about the tours, it'll be a bit like the pre-conference information. It'll just be a paragraph of information saying that there will be tours, and that previous conferences we went here, we went there. Yes. But we won't get that detail because it's a bit too far ahead really in Morocco for people to commit to certain things. But we can do a general information box about those extracurricular activities, if you like, outside.
To pique some interest into the different types of
photos of the conference dinner and things like that. Yeah,
I think just that basic information is fine for now. Confirmed information can be done later in the year. That's not a problem. And finally, I need some information about the different committees. If I can get, I'm not sure what exactly we want to write about the different committee, who's who in the steering committee, the scientific and the organizing committees, but I'm not sure what everybody would like to share. So I was wondering if in the steering committee, if you can tell me what you like to share, what information you'd like me to share onto the website, like us to share. And then from the scientific committee also, what type of information do you like us to share? Something about the committee and maybe something about the members. Remember, all members don't like to have their details up on a website. So we can think about that, either put just the names of people or introduce people, or just have an overview of the different committees. So that's something that we need to discuss, because privacy issues also come in, but people also like to be known, and we also like to let people know about all the different contexts we have, and all the expertise and all this great knowledge we have from different people all over the world. So that will be fantastic. I'm going to share this document with everyone just now, so you can see at which different places you need to add information. So if you guys can do that for me, and we need that quite urgently, you have like 5-6 days to do that for me, so we can share that and try and get the website up and running. That will be fantastic. And while I am talking, I'll just give you an update on the task teams. I'm getting the meeting organized with that. Abdurrahim and I are working on that. So I want to get the next meeting organized so we can start with the next tasks. But to get the meeting organized, I need to know what to discuss with each of the task teams and what needs to be done. So I will keep you updated and let you know as soon as I do that.
Thanks.
Aisha, I have a question. You
Yes.
had said in the previous steering committee meeting that there was a document that you needed from me for the website. And I asked Caroline about it. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was. It sounds like it's not needed now.
It's going to be needed, but not now, no. It's about what's going to happen this October.
Yes.
Oh, got it.
It's not the actual conference. It's the it's ICEQ 21.
Okay.
So if you have that information, you can share it. We can put it in the website folder, because we'll have a page about the October event as well and what's expected. So some of the basic information, even if some information is not finalized, like we said, some background information, some teasers just to pique interest of everyone so they know what to look forward to. That will be fantastic if you can do that for us. And after this meeting, I'm going to share this document and the link to the website folder, so you can just update and include that information in that website folder. That will be really fantastic.
Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you very much. Sean and I are out.
Yeah, just
Yes.
one point about the
Aisha,
poster.
if you could do us a favor, give us a crib sheet of what you want from us. Just a quick crib sheet. That would be great. Thank you. And we'll do our level best to support you. I know you always do a wonderful job.
I'll just text to you a little bit, so give the consistent and persistent emails.
Right. I just have one. Yeah, okay, sure.
See you later, guys.
I still have one point to discuss with those who are staying, please. Just about the poster session. Yeah. The poster session, Caroline, I was thinking about what we did with the Student Voice Conference. It was great, those videos. So what I shared with Aisha is the poster session will have both like posters, e-posters. I don't think we need now the paper posters. We can now work just with e-posters. We can have big screens and work just with e-posters, and they can be infographics and so on. E-poster infographics, and as well we can have short videos, documentaries like the ones that students submitted.
As long as somebody writes the guidance for that, yeah, I
did. I shared that with Aisha. Just if we agree, I don't mind doing that. What I suggested, if you agree with me, is that we can organize that. We were going to that with Student Voice Conference, but we couldn't. We can have like panels, organize some panels for video presentations and posters, where those students, they don't have to present, they just are there. People can watch the videos before and they come for the panels just for discussion.
Yeah, but we spoke about this, I think, that will just be built into the timetable when we do the detailed timetable further down the line. The initial bit now is about calling for the abstracts and getting the abstracts. So as long as they've got guidance for the abstracts for the posters and what they need to submit, and they're still going to be accepted in the same way as traditional symposia papers, because they still need to be a certain quality. And a certain
I agree. Yeah, that's fine.
I like the idea of the panels, and that I'll speak to Mohsin, because he was involved with the poster session with the Student Voice Conference, right? So I'll speak to Mohsin about it. I'll tell Abdurrahim also. So we'll speak to Mohsin and see how that worked out, so we can have a bit of guidelines before we send out the call.
The way we did it in the Student Voice Conference was different, where they were like inserted within oral presentations. What I'm suggesting now is that we have different panels. We were going to do that, but we didn't. Just panels just for posters and videos, and then just people watch them before coming to the panel, and just for discussion. They come for discussion. If that's otherwise, I'm happy with whatever you decide.
Okay, we'll discuss this and then we'll see what works best. We'll discuss it with everyone, because we need to see the logistics and that. And we'll discuss it with you, and you can also give us some ideas, and we'll discuss it with Caroline as well. And then we'll run it by you. Thank you.
One last thing is the time, because it was 20 minutes plus discussion. We were never able to do that. I was going to say just we put 20 minutes. And then it's going to be inclusive of discussion, because
it should have been 15 minutes with 5 minutes discussion for each one.
That's right. And that's so 20 minutes including discussion.
Yes.
And for the symposia, we have 90 minutes, 3 papers, including discussion. What I did add in the call is that this may be extended depending on the number of presenters, because I remember we had one symposium that had like 20 speakers or something. So we cannot give them 90 minutes. We can divide them into different symposia. Yeah, you can have the whole day or something.
Should we not have guidelines on how many speakers should be involved in the symposia? We can't have like 20 speakers because we won't have any chance to speak. What do you think? Do you think we can limit the amount of speakers in a symposia, maybe between with a maximum of 6 speakers or something? Do you think that will work?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's 6. Yeah, it should be 3 abstracts, if you like, per hour, and then each abstract can have a maximum of could have 2 authors, so that would be 6 if they were both there, or it might be 3 single authors. But if they're going to do a group symposia, I think that's what Mustafa's talking about now, where a whole group of people submit something, they can have the 90 minutes, but there'd still be a maximum of 6 presenters, I would suggest, for that session as well.
Yes. What's the maximum abstracts? 3 abstracts.
In the group, yes.
Yeah. But sometimes we had like more than 3 abstracts. Should we just say? And
when we structure the abstracts a timetable ourselves, we won't allow more than 3 abstracts in that session.
If we give out the guidelines, I'm sure they'll stick to the guidelines, right?
It's more about us rather than them. Yeah, the guidelines they'll have to stick to. Yeah.
Just what I noticed, Caroline, from previous, because we don't want to miss out as well on that number. What I noticed from symposia, we had more than 3 abstracts usually, and some were very interesting, especially from one that was submitted, but unfortunately because of COVID, it was from practice group, a community. And there were more than 3 abstracts. We could give them, like if there were 6 abstracts, we couldn't give them two slots. They can carry on.
Yeah, that's what we'd have to do. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So 3 in each basic slot.
Yeah, but we could accept a symposia with more than 3 abstracts.
It would be a double slot. It would be a double slot then. Yeah. That's a timetabling thing, really. We don't know until we get the submissions how we'll structure that timetable.
But Caroline will help us with the wording when we're putting out the guidelines for everyone, for the symposia, and so prospective presenters know what to expect, and they know if there's more than 6 speakers and 3 abstracts, they can create 2 slots. That's what we can tell them in the guidelines as well. You can create 2 groups or something like that,
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Okay.
Sure. Sorry, I keep talking. I agree with Sean. If Aisha, you are very polite, if you could just tell us what each of us needs to do, that would be very helpful.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to send that to you now because we have Abdurrahim has been so kind to send us a full table with tasks and people to complete the tasks. I'll share it just now.
I reckon Caroline can help you with that as well.
It's done. We've done it. We have done it. We just didn't share it.
I mean, how she could approach us and telling us what to do.
Aisha knows we've got a list and telling everybody what to do, and Aisha's going to send it out. And she's going to send it
tell people that Caroline is my boss,
It feels strange for me to be sitting as a boss and telling everyone, higher than me and in all these prestigious posts what to do.
So Mukhtar, how's the design of the website going? You're working on that now, are you?
Yes, just now we are archiving the call of students, the call voice of students.
Yeah.
So as to keep the place for the next for the conference 2022, and going from all the people that we are preparing, we will put many place so as to publish all the knowledge that Aisha and Abdurrahim will send me. As I said to Abdurrahim, there is no problem about the development of the website. We can put everything that you are agree about in the website at the moment. There is no problem. And we are just seeing with the technical responsible of the university that we can have the last hosting ICEQ .mr so as to make the new design online.
Great.
I gave to Abdurrahim the link. It was just to see what is about now.
Great. Thank you.
Just one last question, Mukhtar. So it will be possible to accept abstracts on the website. So we won't have to have email abstracts,
Yes.
email to us. Okay, then that's perfect. And how is it going to work? Is it do they get stored onto the website or into a folder somewhere? How does it actually work?
So there's a possibility to submit inside the website,
Okay.
and of course we can make folders for the abstract. For instance, Arabic one, English one, and French one, so as to give to the reviewers, for instance, the link, or to send them an abstract for evaluation.
Yeah, like
We can have all this. We can have all this in the website.
Yeah. Can we have a management system within the website, Mukhtar?
Yes. We don't need to create, for instance, the Google form, or we can have all inside the website.
Yeah. Can reviewers like access the website and I mean review the abstract and then give their feedback on the website?
Yes, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Otherwise, because I would suggest EasyChair is a fantastic system. We tried it. It's very good, EasyChair. If that's not possible, we can just provide the link for EasyChair. But Aisha, from previous experience, some people have problems, accessing the platform, and that's why we use as well the abstract, the email address. So if people have a problem accessing the platform, they can we access that they can send it by email. Some people have problems with the platform sometimes. So it's up to you what you want to decide. But I would, because we had this problem.
Yeah.
I want to first try the website and see how it goes, and then if we get any queries, and then we can deal with them. Because what's going to happen if you send email addresses now, everyone's going to send their abstracts via email and sometimes duplicate it, and then you're going to have a logistical nightmare again.
Then we could say, if you have a problem, please contact this email address.
Yeah.
And if they contact that email address, then we can say, yeah.
So it's the exception. We don't advertise it. Going back to your original point, Aisha, about the committees, if there's a tab or a sub page, I think if you look at last year's website, we could just do the same. So I think the scientific committee was just literally listed, because then if somebody joins, again, people may join as time goes on, they'll just be added. And then also the organising committee, you can structure that however you want, whether you want to do it as one big one or whether you want to actually put them under their teams. That would be up to you. But I think maybe for the steering committee, that maybe we should actually either put our names and our affiliation, institution, and maybe a few words, about ourselves, like you say, just maybe 100 words or something like that, just saying early childhood lecturer, something really minimal, but a little bit more than just names, about the steering committee only, because we don't want too many texts. People can contact each other through their email addresses, so as long as the basic scientific committee and the basic organising committees agree to have their email addresses shared on the website, then that's fairly straightforward and fairly standard. But if possible, I think maybe you could write to them, Aisha, and ask them to provide their, if I haven't already done, their work email addresses, because we have all sorts of like Curly Sue at Hotmail and all of this. We don't really want that. We want their proper email address if they've got one. Obviously, if it's a home email address, a private one, so be it. But most of them will be associated with some university or college or something like that, or a Gmail address. But I think maybe for the steering, yeah, we should say a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree, Caroline. Maybe even if you want like a photo and a short bio, like 100-word bio or something. Yeah.
A verse, because even like saying Mukhtar, for example, what our roles are on the steering committee. You know, so for example, you know, Sean, a little bit about himself and his key role on the steering committee is coordinator of the keynote speakers. Mukhtar, key role, website coordinator, different things like that. So we've got a little bio and just our main role on the steering group. Maybe.
Yes, it's interesting, of course, yes.
Mm.
Okay, so I'll send out that email to everyone, maybe later tonight or early in the morning. And
maybe if you could do it on just a suggestion on a Google form,
yes,
or Google, it would be easier for you rather than each one sending you an email. Yeah.
Yes, no, I've put it on a Google for doc already. It's I'll just have to share the link with you.
Yeah, I would add like affiliation. Even I would, because if you could explain like name of university, city, country, or something, so we can have something like standard, so we get the same responses. Because some people might share just departments, some might share faculty, some. So if we could have similar like standard affiliation, country or city, whatever you decide. Yeah.
Okay, standard bio format. Okay.
And I haven't looked at the call for abstracts, but on the abstract guidance, not the call, that also needs to be clear on there. You know, they put the author or authors, main author, corresponding author, and then institutions.
I think it's there. I think it's there, Caroline. I think it's there, and it was actually done by Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Okay, so I think we've discussed everything now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I need to do next? So for me, I think this is what I'm going to do then. The formal keynote invitation for Mel. The basic information about the tours, the conference dinner, and and then the strand descriptors, and the student conference.
I'm gonna work on the registration fees. I'm gonna contact Professor Bundo about this because they are a bit problematic.
I was supposed to ask you and I forgot.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the keynote emails. I'm gonna send you the updated call as well for full papers. But please, you can tweak it if you want, Caroline. I'm gonna send you the updated. I'm gonna do that today. Registration fees probably next week because Professor Bundo is not here. He's traveling, so I'll see him as soon as he's back here.
Okay, no problem. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for the productive meeting.
Aisha. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.